A Star Trek film has to be a Star Trek film, first and foremost. It cannot be a film which happens to be a Star Trek film.
Well, I was actually pretty excited, knowing going in, of course, that John Logan, was at the helm.
I hate to use such a trite phrase for a writer, but when they asked me to write Star Trek Nemesis, it was a dream come true.
It was a smart move to have him do it because he's a Star Trek fan and he's a very capable and smart writer.
I think this script was more like coming home for me. I recognized Beverly Crusher in this movie.
The whole thing fit into this story about family, and family coming to an end in a way, or dispersing.
I'm proud of the work that we all did. This drew something out of us all that was extra.
All of us were anxious that the Star Trek family should be at the center of this, and there are critical things that happen to that family in the course of this film.
Will Riker, you have been my trusted right arm for 15 years. You have kept my course true and steady. Deanna Troi, you've been my guide and my conscience. You have helped me recognize the better parts of myself. You are my family.
Well, the movie opens at our wedding reception with the good captain toasting us, who has obviously stood in as my best man. Data sings, and Whoopi comes back, and it's really a wonderful, whimsical, inside way to open a Star Trek movie.
The bride and groom. The bride and groom.
The wedding was a lot of fun, obviously. Whether you're a real bride or a make-believe bride, you're the princess for the day, and people treat you accordingly, so it's lovely, to be getting married.
I have discovered it is traditional to present the happy couple with a gift.
Purely John Logan's idea to have me sing. He called me one day, he said, guess what, I'm going to write it in that you're going to sing and you're going to sing Blue Skies. That was his idea as well.
When you're in love, my how they fly, oh blue skies, smiling at me, nothing but...
It was both really fun and exciting and ridiculous, as all of our work is.
To be reunited with those guys, it's almost like, a frat party. Everybody goes away and comes back, after they've graduated from college, and it's like a frat party, like an old alumni frat party.
It was my first week on the shoot, as for many of us, and it was really, really nice. It was so much fun to see each other again, we see each other all the time, some of us, but just not in uniform. So sort of zipping up the spacesuit once again, and it was great. And Marina looked beautiful in the gown that Bob Blackman designed. It was absolutely gorgeous, and so we just had a good time.
Mr. Data? Sir? Shut up.
It's a bittersweet scene for Picard. He is tremendously happy that two of his colleagues have found one another and are planning to spend the rest of their lives together. But of course, in doing that, he's also losing them. Riker is being promoted. Dr. Crusher has been promoted and is leaving. The sense of new lives that wait for them, I think, produces in Picard a certain sadness.
The connections between us is family. It's just family. And it's unshakable, Because you look around and you see a great part of your active adult life. A great part of my active adult life was spent with the cast and crew of Star Trek.
Brent knew John Logan and introduced John Logan to me and expressed a great interest in being involved with the story. And since the story is so incredibly focused on the character of Data, along with Picard, it was apt that he would get involved. And he was a great part of the process as we were developing the story and writing the story.
I'm picking up an unusual electromagnetic signature from the Kalaran system.
What sort of signature?
Positronic.
I think what John Logan, Rick Berman, and Brent Spiner have brought about, because they were all creators of the original story, the role they've given for Data is absolutely brilliant. And I know that audiences are going to react very viscerally to this. But it was a stroke of genius to do with data what has been done. Theories?
Since positronic signatures have only been known to emanate from androids such as myself, it is logical to theorize there is an android on Colaris 3.
What do you think, Dave? Long-lost relative? One of the things that really works in this franchise and in this thing that the next generation has become is the dynamic, the interpersonal dynamic of how these folks relate to each other. That's absolutely one of the strengths of this thing. And so to take advantage of that, to capitalize on that, makes perfect sense to me. And I think we've gone back to that. We've gone back to who these people are and what do they mean to each other. I still can't believe the captain went along with the memory download.
Captain Picard agrees that the B-4 was probably designed with the same self-actualization parameters as myself. If my memory engrams are successfully integrated into his positronic matrix, he should have all my abilities.
Yeah, but he would also have all of your memories as well. You feel comfortable with that?
I feel nothing, Geordi. It is my belief that with my memory engrams, he will be able to function as a more complete individual. B4 is part of Data's quest to be more human. I mean, we've covered so much area from the series through the films about Data's desire to be a real person, a real living being, human being. And this is, again, about family. And it's about his need for family and to feel that he is not alone in the universe. And suddenly the opportunity arises where he finds a brother and is disappointed in who his brother turns out to be, for a whole different reason than he was disappointed in Lore, his other quote-unquote brother.
It's a very interesting theme that's being explored in the film, which is what makes each individual different, and heightened by the android story, what makes an android's experience different than a human's experience. What about Picard is attracted to, and what is Picard terrified of with Shinzon, his clone?
If I had lived his life, is it possible that I would have rejected my humanity?
The B4 is physically identical to me, although his neural pathways are not as advanced. But even if they were, he would not be me.
How can you be sure?
I aspire, sir, to be better than I am. B4 does not, nor does Shinzon.